Macero Construction Group, a family-owned and operated construction company whose number one core value is safety above all.
Safety begins by barricading the perimeter of our job sites and placing appropriate signage on the barricade. All visitors must report to Macero's job office before entering the job site. Safety of the public includes pedestrians and vehicular traffic. Particular conditions on a job site may require additional signage, such as this one. Emergency egress plans are developed for each floor of every job site. Safety of you, our valued employee, is addressed at the time of hire, at weekly toolbox talks, and as needed. Everyone is empowered and expected to bring up safety concerns for discussion. This is a sample of a toolbox talk with the topic and signatures of all attendees. Every job site has an adequately supplied first aid kit, and some even have automated external defibrillators. Superintendents and foremen are all first aid CPR certified. Smoking is not permitted inside our buildings or job offices. All job sites have all applicable posters on display for everyone to reference. Neither drugs nor alcohol are permitted on any job site. Job sites are laid out to allow for clear vehicle and equipment travel. Materials are neatly stacked and stored. Perimeters are adequately lit for the safety of pedestrians. Tire washing is vital in keeping public roads clean. Proper job site attire includes long pants, shirts with sleeves over the shoulders, work boots, and hard hats at a minimum. High visibility attire is recommended on all Macero job sites. High visibility attire is required on any job site where there is moving equipment, machinery, or vehicular traffic. Hearing protection is available on every job site.
Filtering face piece respirators like the N95 protects against nuisance dust and can be worn by anyone on a voluntary basis. Half-face respirators can only be worn by employees who have been fit tested and undergone a health evaluation. Respirators must be kept clean and carefully stored.
PA1 call must be called before any digging begins. All excavations must be inspected before anyone enters and barricaded. Excavations are accessed by an extension ladder. Every excavation 4 feet and greater must be benched, sloped, or shored with a trench box. Boxes must extend above the top of the excavation. Workers must always be inside the box. Spoil piles need to be 2 feet back from the edge, and equipment should never travel near the edge of an excavation. Ensure all utilities are marked. Fall protection is very important. Anyone exposed to a fall 6 feet or greater will be protected. The body harness is the main piece of personal protective equipment used in fall protection. Every worker must inspect their harness before each use. Labels must be legible. There should be no tears, frays, discoloration, or alterations made to the harness. The harness must be worn properly. The D-ring is in the middle of the back, the chest strap in line across the chest, and leg straps should be snug. Any harness involved in a fall will be removed from service immediately. Ensure the harness is the right size and weight capacity for the worker and his or her tools. Other components of personal fall protection should also be inspected thoroughly. These include lanyards, rope lifelines, and retractables. Ensure your anchorage point is adequate. Only one worker can be tied to an anchorage point at one time. Never use a retractable and a lanyard together at the same time. Also, ensure you are using the proper fall protection device for the height at which you are working. Guardrails are a very common means of fall protection for leading edges, shaft openings, and window openings. Guardrails can be wood or cable. The top rail is to be at 42 inches and the mid rail at 21 inches, plus or minus 3 inches. Cable will be flagged to ensure visibility with stanchions 8 feet apart. When a roof parapet is below 39 inches, flagging will be used. Working beyond the flagging requires additional fall protection measures like a harness or safety monitor as a last resort. Fall protection shown here includes roof brackets, retractables, and rope lifelines. It is important to have your anchorage point above your D-ring. If an overhead anchorage point is not available, it is acceptable to tie off below your D-ring. When using retractables, watch how far they are extended to avoid swinging in the event of a fall. Horizontal lifelines, like the one shown in this picture, must be engineered. When welding, employees will wear welding hoods and gloves. Screens such as this are helpful to protect other employees from welding flash. When working with concrete, long sleeves and gloves are recommended. Rubber boots will be provided. A hand washing station is also available, and workers should use care to not get concrete on their skin. Always use caution when backing up trucks and ensure backup alarms are audible. Concrete pour perimeters are protected prior to the concrete pour, so fall protection is readily in place. Rebar is capped as shown in this picture to protect workers from possible impalement injury. Anchor bolts are also protected as shown in this picture. Every job site has fully charged and currently inspected fire extinguishers. They can be mounted on the walls or visibly located in hallways or stairwells. All gas cans have self-closing safety lids. Gas is kept in red cans, diesel in yellow, and kerosene in blue. All cylinders are kept in an upright position and secured at all times. Fire extinguishers are in close proximity. Cylinders must be capped when not in use. Oxygen and fuel gas cylinders must be separated by 20 feet or by a 5-foot-high, half-hour rated divider. All cylinders in use must have properly working gauges with the covers in place.
Fuel tanks are properly labeled and kept in containment pans to protect against damage and contain any leaks or spills. A charged, currently labeled fire extinguisher must be between 25 and 75 feet of all fuel tanks.
When performing demolition, the area is always barricaded and water is used to control the dust. Ensure equipment is in good operating condition and all employees are in sight of the operator. Trash chutes are found on multi-story buildings. The openings are always barricaded. Housekeeping is essential for a safe and productive job site. Any hole 2 inches and greater must be properly covered. A proper cover must be marked as a hole, secured, and capable of withstanding 2 times its maximum intended load. Proper housekeeping includes clean stairs, such as these shown here, and neat hallways, with no debris or materials stacked where employees travel. The entire job site is well lit for employee safety. All products and materials are properly labeled, and the label must be legible. Each job site contains a chemical inventory sheet and the proper material safety data sheets for every chemical on the job site. Material safety data sheets describe the material and all associated health hazards and PPE that may be needed to work with the material. The use of certain tools, like lasers and powder-actuated tools, is conveyed by signage like this. Signage is also used to alert everyone to hazardous conditions. Scissor lifts are commonly used to access high work areas. Workers must keep both feet on the deck of the scissor lift at all times and ensure all guardrails are in place. Another type of lift found on our job sites is a swing arm lift, as shown here. Workers must also stand on the deck of the lift. Guardrails must be in place. In addition, the worker must also be tied off to the inside of the basket at all times. Safe lifting is encouraged on every job site to ensure the health of each worker. Wheelbarrows and carts are available on all job sites to move materials. Slings are commonly used for hoisting material. If a sling is frayed, torn, discolored, or damaged in any way, it must be removed from service. A key indicator of damage is when the colored thread is showing. Wire chokers must have tags. Ensure the wire is not bird caged and there aren't a number of broken strands of wire in the choker. Also ensure that every sling or choker is the proper weight capacity for the material being hoisted. Crosby clamps must be properly applied with the belly of the clamp on the dead end of the rope. When maneuvering bulky loads, more than one employee should assist and taglines should be used. When hoisting more than one item at a time, ensure they are properly rigged. An all-terrain forklift is commonly used for material handling. The operator must be certified and wear their seatbelt at all times. The backup alarm must be audible. All heavy equipment must be in good operating condition. This includes not leaking any fluids, having an audible backup alarm, windshields free from cracks, and competent operators. Electricity is provided and maintained by the electrical contractor on the job site. All panel boxes must be securely closed and have no openings anywhere on the box. All boxes must be properly labeled. Inside of the panel boxes, there must not be any openings either. If there are, blanks are to be used. Job site outlets are to have ground fault protection, as you can see here with the set reset button. Outdoor outlets must have covers on, as shown here, to protect from the weather. All extension cords must have a ground prong. If the job site is not wired with ground fault protection, a GFCI as shown here must be used. With permanent power, all outlets must have faceplates, then the GFCI, then the cord or tool. Temporary lighting will be wired overhead as shown here by the electrician on the job site. All temporary bulbs will have cages to protect them from damage. Keep extension cords up off the ground to protect them from damage. Temporary light stands must also have protection in place to keep the bulb from being damaged. It is very important to be aware of any overhead power lines near your job site. Make sure they are located, signage is in place, and always take them into consideration with heavy equipment, scaffolding, and even with the use of ladders. Step ladders are to be used in the fully open position and on a level surface. Do not paint or alter the step ladder in any way. Never stand on the top or next to top step of a step ladder. Job-built extension ladders are very common on our sites. Notice the cleat at the bottom to keep the ladder from kicking out. Extension ladders must extend 3 feet beyond the platform and be secured at the top. Job site stairwells are kept clean and have handrails in place. Any break in elevation over 19 inches must have a ramp, steps, or ladders for access. A confined space is defined as having limited means for entry and exit, not designed for continuous occupancy, and poses the possibility for asphyxiation or entrapment. Before every entry into a confined space, the air is monitored as shown here. The confined space is properly covered when no one is working inside. A tripod is used for each worker in a confined space. The tripod is attached to the worker's harness and is required in case retrieval is necessary. A spotter is always outside the space when someone is inside. Notice the barricade around the confined space. Scaffolding is commonly used as an elevated work platform. Only competent scaffold erectors with a card can build and dismantle scaffold. Scaffold must be set up on a firm, solid surface. It is completely planked and railed with toe boards in the areas the workers are working. Multi-levels will have a stair tower. If scaffold plank do not extend far enough beyond the frame, cleats are used to prevent the plank from walking off the frame. Another form of scaffolding is a mobile scaffold as shown here. Mobile scaffolds must be used on a level surface with the wheels locked when people are on the scaffold. The work platform must be in good condition and solid. All scaffold over 6 feet needs rails for fall protection. Do not pull yourself along while standing on the mobile scaffold. When working on a suspension scaffold, the workers must be tied off at all times. Ensure the individual lifeline anchorage points are separate from the tiebacks of the scaffold itself. Power tools are commonly used on all of our job sites. Before working with a power tool, ensure you have the proper personal protective equipment, such as gloves, face shields, and safety glasses. Before using the tool, make sure that any guards required are in place, the cords are not torn or frayed, and the tool is operating properly. Make sure you have the proper blade for the tool you are using. All power tools arrive at our job sites with the proper guards in place. Hand tools also need to be inspected to ensure they are in good condition. This includes having a solid handle and the ends secured. The biggest piece of equipment on our job sites is a crane. The swing radius of the cranes are barricaded at all times. Cranes are set up on adequate cribbing or matting to ensure the surface on which they are operating is stable and level. When the outriggers are used, they must be fully extended and on a level surface. Before every lift, the operator must signal to the workers by blowing the crane's horn. All cranes will have a current annual inspection tag inside the crane cab. All operators must be certified as well. Crane cabs also are to have the appropriate load charts for that particular crane model. Workers who are signaling the crane operator must use the standard hand crane signals. Ensure the cable is spooled properly on the crane as shown here on the right spool. The load angle indicator must function properly. Anti-tube locks must be on all cranes to prevent a load from being hoisted up and over the boom. All hooks must have safety latches. Directing delivery trucks in and out of our job sites happens frequently. Before entering the streets, ensure you have on a reflective vest and have a flag with which to direct the traffic. The delivery trucks also must have an audible backup alarm.
From working on our job sites, to participating in company events, to your life at home, Macero wants you to always put your safety, the safety of your family, and the safety of your coworkers above all.